The night before graduation, I unexpectedly found out my boyfriend already had a fiancé, someone deemed to be a good match for him. After a night together, I broke up with him. Frank, full of pride, basically told me to get lost. I went back home while he took over his family business. After returning, my sister got in a car accident, and I ended up taking care of my less-than-month-old niece. They say nieces tend to resemble their aunts. 4 years later, Frank saw my niece calling me mommy. It drove him crazy. Mine? Nina, who are you to deny a father his right to know? I had a relationship that went nowhere. 3 intense years until I learned he had a fiancé arranged for him abroad. So, I told him I planned to move back home after graduation. He asked about him. I said, you could go abroad. Go find your fiancé there. Oh, great, Frank said angrily. You go home, I go abroad, you're just breaking us up nicely? I just stared at him. Seriously, was he hiding a mistress or trying to have it both ways? And yet, he still dared to question me like that. What's with the staring? Frank argued. Explain yourself. I felt like some things just couldn't be explained. After all, he'd hidden the truth for 3 whole years. Now, even if I asked, he wouldn't admit it. Yet, I was reluctant to let go with such humiliation. As my roommate said, 3 years and you couldn't win Frank? Will you regret it later? Probably. I'd likely never meet someone as passionate as him again or feel such pure emotions. So, when Frank was about to argue with me again, I grabbed his collar and kissed him. Frank used some effort to push me away, breathing heavily. What's that supposed to mean? A slap followed by a sweet date? Whatever he said, I just wanted him. So I kissed him again. Frank pushed away, and I kept closing in, until finally, he seemed defeated and let me have my way. I pushed him onto the bed, fumbling as I tried to take off his shirt. Frank sighed, taking the lead, pressing me underneath him. Our fingers intertwined as we reached the peak together and fell thereafter. Afterwards, I wiped the tears from my eyes and proposed a breakup. Let's break up, Frank. We're not the same kind of people. In relationships, I'm single-minded, maybe even stubborn. But him? Enraged, Frank asked, what do you mean? So that was just a breakup hookup? I just wanted to not have regrets in my youth. I said nothing and started to leave. Frank angrily replied, fine. Split. I was getting tired of this anyway. After the breakup, Frank's words tired of it haunted me, making me lose motivation in everything. Until the devastating news of my sister and brother-in-law's car accident reached me. By the time my parents and I got there, all we could do was take my unscathed, 3-month-old niece from the police. She cried her heart out, probably sensing she'd lost her mom forever. Mom fainted and was hospitalized, while our elderly father was devastated, constantly in tears. I had to pull myself together, organize the funeral, care for my parents, and take on my niece's daily needs. Thankfully, life moved on, and even without my sister and her husband's love, my niece still had me. I took her under my name, becoming her mom in all but biological sense. I took great care of her until she grew up. Maybe you start resembling those who raise you. Lily grew prettier with each day, her bright smile captivating everyone. Neighbors often said she was like my mini-me. Lily was bright too. By 3, she knew lots of words and could recite many poems. So lively and adorable. In September, I attended an industry conference in Cloud City, and Lily came along. Towards the end, the organizers arranged for everyone to relax at a hot spring resort. The resort, co-owned by the organizers Kenny and a significant figure from Jean City, hadn't opened to the public yet. It was expansive, nestled on a mountainside, offering a grand view of the city. It also boasted various kiddie entertainment facilities. Noticing no urgent tasks ahead, I informed my supervisor and took the day off to enjoy time with Lily. She had a blast. During dinner, the accomplished Kenny joined our table. Nina, I've had my eye on you these past couple of days. Your studio, even though new, has an excellent grasp of the short drama market. As a lead editor, you're impressive. Kenny, who runs 2 successful short drama companies and attracts many talents, was being quite humble with such praise. Thanks for the compliment. We just make small productions. Our studio transitioned from an editorial house, focusing mainly on traditional literature. Kenny offered pleasant small talk, his eyes betraying an undisguised ambition. He handed me a business card, suggesting I contact him if I was looking for new opportunities. Just then, Lily, who went to get ketchup, returned. Her tiny eyes wandering between me and Kenny, she sweetly chimed, "Mommy, I got the ketchup. Aren't I awesome?" I bent over and lifted Lily onto the high stool. "Our Lily is the best," I said, and kissed her forehead. Kenny looked stupefied across from us. "You have a child?" I smiled, "Yes. My daughter is 3. Lily, say hello to Uncle." Lily followed, sweetly, "Hello, Uncle." Kenny's smile froze, his laughter awkward. "Didn't realize someone as young as you would already be married. I won't intrude." And Kenny left. I laughed and playfully tapped Lily's nose. "You're such a clever little thing." Lily's been like this since she was little, calling me mommy when we're out and auntie eat home. Grandma asked her why, and her little eyes sparkled mischief. If I call her mommy outside, the creepy uncles won't give auntie any flowers. I was perfectly happy with that, using Lily as a shield. Nowadays, dating and stuff is all fluff. Making money to raise a kid is the real deal. After joking with Lily, I turned around and saw Kenny at the door, enthusiastically greeting someone. I froze. The back looked so familiar. Ding! The spoon in my hand clattered to the floor. My eyes welled up, and my heart tightened in pain. I don't know how long it took. Lily picked up the spoon and placed it on the table, handing me a tissue. "Auntie, did the wind get in your eyes again?" "Wipe it off." Lily didn't see anything. I took the tissue, wiped away my tears, and managed to smile. I've lied so many times, even the kid knows how to comfort me now. When I looked back again, the figure at the door was gone. I must have been mistaken. Frank is busy taking over the company, always in the spotlight. Why would he come to this laid-back hot spring resort? That night I couldn't sleep, even after getting Lily to bed. The front desk called. "Sorry to bother you so late, but due to an error, your check-in wasn't completed. Can you please come down with your ID to sort it out?" The front desk kept apologizing. Not wanting to give fellow workers a hard time. I said it's okay, I'll be right down. So I threw on a jacket, quickly gathered my hair, and went downstairs in slippers. To my surprise, someone was waiting for me at the front desk. I don't know how I got in front of him without tripping over myself. But there Frank was, standing right in front of me. Turns out it really was him I saw earlier. He's grown more mature, stronger, and more poised than 4 years ago. Small world. Since I couldn't avoid it, I forced a smile. Frank's throat bobbed noticeably, and what he said shattered any peace. "It's not by chance. I was waiting for you." I sat on the couch, facing Frank's crossed long legs and those fancy handmade shoes. I thought, I really wasn't mistaken, it was him. For years on, I can still recognize his back. How ironic. The internet has rumors of his secret marriage and others saying he's single. When I left, I deleted all contact with Frank. He was supposed to be super busy, taking over the family business, barely staying in touch with classmates. So, he probably didn't know what happened with me. I toyed with my ID in my hands when a slender hand appeared. Frank leaned forward, snatching my ID. "Nina," his voice was low, reading, "Lily, 3 years old." I looked up, Frank twirling Lily's ID, eyeing me with amusement. He looked like someone who'd been fooled. Realizing what he might be thinking, I immediately grabbed for the ID. "Give it back. It's not what you think." "Not what?" Frank scoffed. "Are you trying to tell me you left me, jumped into bed with someone, and had a baby? 4 years later, you've got a 3-year-old kid? Seeing his complete misunderstanding, I stood to grab the ID back. Frank, don't overreact. Lily really isn't your daughter. Frank, gritting his teeth, dodged my reach, grabbed my wrist, and pushed me back into the couch. She's definitely not my daughter. Frank, calm down, listen to me. I was about to explain, when Frank pushed me again, trapping me in a small space with him looming over. We locked eyes, his blazing. Nina, who gave you the right to take a father's right to know? Explaining was useless. Lily really isn't your daughter. I shoved Frank away, believe it or not. In the elevator, I looked back once. Frank was on the ground, in pain like he'd just been hit hard. I shook my head, quickly got in the elevator and closed the door. Watched too many pregnancy dramas, did he? No way would I get pregnant after a breakup. I'm a strong, independent woman. That night I told Candy about my encounter. Candy laughed until she almost cried. Oh my gosh, he's hilarious. How did I not notice before? Didn't you tell him Lily's your niece? I doubt he'd believe me now. He's too stuck in his assumption. The more I explain, the more he'll think I'm hiding something. Ha ha ha. Honestly, it's kinda sweet. You three could be a happy family again. Get lost, I snapped. You think this is a fairy tale? I kind of missed him before, but now he's making me want to flee. Candy said, running would just confirm Lily's his kid. So I'm stuck. Stuck. If I were you, I'd use the kid as leverage to get him to marry you. Are you kidding? It's been years. He might be married already. If he's married, even juicier. You could have drama with a kid involved. Shut up. All I want now is to earn money for Lily. Fine, Candy asked, but if Frank wanted to get back together, would you? Get back with him? If this were someone else's problem, I'd say never look back. But when it comes to me, it's hard to say. I guess we'll see how it goes. The next morning, while I was having breakfast with Lily, Frank showed up too. He just stared at Lily and me with a blank expression. Sitting next to him was Kenny, the guy who hit on me yesterday. I didn't even need to think to know what Kenny was probably saying to him. Like, hey man, that woman's got a great figure, but too bad she's got a kid. See that little one next to her? Yeah, no chance. Lily wanted a donut, but I shook my head. No way. The dentist had warned us several times about her cavity issues. So Lily pouted, upset. I didn't bother with her mood. After eating, I told her to wait while I went to the bathroom. Who would have guessed? When I came back, Frank was sitting next to Lily, and there were 2 donuts on the plate. Frank noticed me and spoke in a wistful tone. Don't worry, she didn't eat them. You've taught her well, not to take things from strangers. Mommy said no donuts. I let out a breath, eyeing the rather sad Frank. I swear, I've told you before, Lily is not your child. I thought I'd have to argue. But to my surprise, Frank laughed knowingly. I know, I had someone look into it last night. I was speechless. Of course, a CEO would just have someone check the birth certificate to see if I was lying. Sorry about last night. I jumped to conclusions. The way you ended things, there's no way you'd have a kid with me. It was more like he was talking to himself than apologizing. It's all right. I wanted to say anyone in that situation would get the wrong idea, and Frank was just a bit emotional. But I couldn't form the words. I studied Frank closely. He was skinnier compared to when we split. His bones were more pronounced, his jawline sharper. Too thin. Maybe he was overworking. This lodge, we own half of it. Stay as long as you like, no need to worry about costs. No, I'm kind of on a working trip. My studio will cover most of it. Frank glanced up at me. I've already spoken to them. Okay. Before he left, Frank ruffled Lily's hair. Lily, surprisingly, didn't shy away. After he left, Lily spoke to me in a secretive tone. "Auntie, if you want a date, go ahead." "Why?" I was surprised. Lily used to be on high alert with my suitors. How could she warm up to Frank after just one meeting? "Because he bought you donuts?" "Of course not." Lily, wise beyond her years, said, "He mentioned he'd be happy if I were his daughter." Ugh. I wish I had a dad. Everyone else in kindergarten does. What does Frank mean by all this? I can't quite understand him. "Don't be sad, Lily. Auntie, Grandma, and everyone loves you." I was just venting. Lily flashed her bright smile, showing her little teeth, so mature it was heart-wrenching. Little did I know Frank hadn't gone far. He was still there, watching from a distance. And to my shock, all of it was caught on camera. The next day, it made headlines. CEO Frank, rumored secret marriage and child. Photos tell all. In the picture, you could only see me from behind with my long hair down. But Lily's face was clear as day, even with a mosaic. Her form and smile imprinted unmistakably. I shot up from bed, calling friends to find out more. Turns out it was a top domestic gossip outlet spreading the news. I was frantic, like a cat on a hot tin roof, trying Frank's old number. It actually rang, but no one picked up. Later that night, I planned to take Lily home. But just as I finished packing, Frank called. "Nina," his voice was low, apologetic. "Sorry, I was in meetings all day." Suddenly, I was at a loss for words, even though I'd been eager to speak to him earlier. "What's wrong? Did something happen? Did you see today's entertainment news?" I asked. "Not yet." There was silence. He was probably checking his phone. After a while, he spoke directly. "Nina, where are you now?" "I'm heading home with Lily." "Listen to me," Frank said. "If they manage to take photos, you two are probably being watched. Stay put. I'll come by." Being watched? I immediately checked outside, instinctively feeling there were lots of bright reflections from the opposite building. So I pulled the curtains closed. "What are you doing?" "It's not even dark yet," Lily asked, wondering when we were leaving. "I said we'll wait for someone to come first," I replied. "Is it that nice-smelling uncle from yesterday?" Lily asked, brightening my mood and easing my tension. "Whatever. Worst case, I could clear things up later." After all, Frank and I barely had any interaction to begin with. Frank showed up quickly. He said the place was not safe anymore, and there were likely people staked out at the airport too. If I trusted him, he could arrange somewhere for us to stay. I did trust Frank's judgment, so I nodded. Frank smiled. He knelt down, talking directly to Lily. "Your name is Lily, right? How about Uncle takes you somewhere else? You'll get to see the river view and a big Ferris wheel." "Wow. That sounds amazing." Lily quickly let go of my hand and grabbed Frank's. I stood there, momentarily stunned. A place with a river view and a Ferris wheel? I never imagined Frank still had that apartment. Right after we broke up, I thought he'd sell it. If not sell, at least keep it off limits, given how many memories of us were in there. We got into the car after leaving the underground garage, and Frank instructed the driver to take a couple extra rounds. There were a few cars tailing us. Made me pretty nervous, to be honest. But Frank? He seemed used to it. "Sorry about those reporters. They're probably here because of me. I already got someone to take it off the trending list, but the word's out there now. Your trips might be affected." I don't mind really, as they only have the back of my head, but I'm worried they'll dig into Lily's identity. "Don't worry," he assured me. "I've already warned the media. They won't dare publish clear pictures of the kid." Ugh, what a mess. If I'd known, I wouldn't have brought the kid out. But what's her fault in all this? It's all on Frank. He's the media's main target now. When we finally got to Frank's apartment, I held Lily as Frank carried my two big suitcases. At the door, Frank gestured with his chin that I should open it. I didn't change the code, he said. Except, I forgot it. Frank gave me this sarcastic look. Figures you'd forget, or maybe you never intended to remember. Then he let go of the suitcases, bent down, and punched in the code. I just rolled my eyes. I was the one who chased Frank back in the day. I was wild and naive back then, wanting to claim anything beautiful. Thank goodness I was confident enough with what I had. Hey, can I have your contact info? As people around us egged me on, Frank just lazily looked at me. Nope. There was giggling from the girls nearby. But I was prepared. I pointed to our professor not too far away. But the professor wants me to add you to the group, for orientation stuff. Frank, albeit reluctantly, pulled out his WeChat. As I scanned it, I thought to myself, I'll get you eventually. Then when I looked up, our eyes met. His gaze was both gentle and sharp, somewhere in between. Those deep eyes of his, under long lashes, went from my eyes to my nose and then my lips. I felt my face flush. At first, it seemed like playful teasing. But then, it got serious. I was determined to win him over. Eventually, thanks to proximity, I was always with Frank except when I was in my dorm. And he seemed to have gotten used to it. Sometimes, if a professor held me up and I left class late, he'd wait for me at the building entrance. If I forgot my meal card at the cafeteria, one quick look, and he'd whip one out of his pocket for me. Once, during an unexpected monthly visit, when I was desperately looking for someone to borrow supplies from, Frank found out. With a furrowed brow he just said, "Aren't you embarrassed?" Then afterward, he'd always keep a spare in his bag for me. Sweet and thoughtful. A year went by like this, and still no official status between us. So, on my birthday, after some drinks, I clung to his shirt demanding to be acknowledged. Frank, with hands in his pockets, watched me hang on to him like a koala without a hint of emotion. He's tall, making clinging hard. Winning him over was even harder. I ended up crouched on the curb crying. Frank, if you say no tonight, you won't see me tomorrow. Frank, I need you to be my boyfriend or I won't be yours anymore. I said so much. Hardly remembered any of it later. When I finally tired myself out, Frank handed me a tissue. Clean those tears, and I'll say yes. He sounded so calm. I thought I misheard. Frank laughed then. That was the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. Even though he had my attention from the first moment we met, nothing compared to that smile. Repeat that, I quickly asked. I said, I agree to be your boyfriend, Frank replied. I jumped with joy. Really? I threw my arms around his neck. For the first time, Frank wrapped both arms around my waist. Internship for 3 years. Your clingy nature might bar you from ever going full-time. I was too lost in happiness to realize what he hinted at. It was only later, at the breakup, did I think he might have known we wouldn't last. I'm glad I initiated the breakup first. Otherwise, I'd have been left shattered. Back at the apartment, everything looked the same as before. Even the lucky cat figure I gave him was still on the table. The place was spotless. Not sure if Frank was always here or if someone cleaned regularly. Lily rushed in and got mesmerized by the giant Ferris wheel outside the floor-to-ceiling window. She knelt down to get a better view. Frank went over and, with a nonchalant reach, stole a pillow from the couch, placed it on the floor, and lifted Lily onto it. When you're ready, Uncle Frank will take you to ride it. Sound good? He promised so easily. Unlike with me. Anytime I wanted something, it was a negotiation. Until he reluctantly gave in. I slipped into some comfy shoes inside, and Frank got up. He headed to the balcony cabinet and grabbed a bag. Then went to the corner and poured its contents into a shiny silver bowl. Meow. A snow-white, fluffy cat peeked out from under the curtain, likely hiding from us strangers but now lured out by its treat. You have a cat now. I was excited. Back in school, I desperately wanted a cat of my own. The dorm rules wouldn't allow it. When I was with Frank, I asked to get a cat for us. Frank would give in to almost all my requests except the cat. Pressed, he'd claim to be allergic. It was disappointing then. After breaking up, taking care of Lily took up my life, no room for a cat. I didn't expect Frank to finally have one. Watching the cat finish its meal, I gently reached out my hand. The cat got scared and shrunk back its neck. Frank somehow produced a cat treat out of nowhere and handed it to me. The cat saw I had something tasty and immediately rubbed against my feet. After finishing the treat, it fondly rolled around in my palm. Seeing me petting the cat, Frank took a step back and leaned against the window, looking at me. "What's its name?" I asked while petting the purring cat, feeling it should have a cute name. Frank stayed silent for a moment and looked out the window. "No name." "Why doesn't it have a name when it's so adorable?" Frank didn't respond. Lily, drawn to the little cat as well, joined in playing a game of tag until she got sleepy. I carried Lily back to the guest room to sleep and returned to the living room. Frank remained at the window, gazing outside, only now with a glass of red wine in hand. I walked over. "Weren't you the one who didn't drink?" Frank set down the glass and chuckled lightly. "I just never drank in front of you." I was momentarily speechless. Frank looked at me and said, "Nina, have you ever thought that the version of me you knew back then wasn't the real me?" Was this a revelation? I was momentarily stunned. Much to my surprise, Frank's eyes reddened. "I've regretted it so many times, feeling I should have tied you down or even imprisoned you rather than letting you go or agreeing to the breakup." Frank said, "Nina, after all these years, can you tell me why you broke up with me back then?" I replied, "Even if I hadn't mentioned breaking up, we wouldn't have stayed together, right?" "You had a fiancé abroad, right?" "Fiancé?" Frank said. "Yeah. I heard it myself. Your dad called you, telling you to treat her well since the two families would need each other in the future." "This is why," Frank said. I replied, "Isn't this enough?" My feeling back then was she, and I was me. You'd marry her and still keep me around. I never. He started to say. I interrupted him, "Maybe you didn't then, but who's to say you wouldn't in the future? Better to end things sooner than drag it out. It's all in the past now anyway, there's no point in discussing it. You go your way, and I'll go mine." Frank was left speechless. He let out a long sigh. "In your mind, it might be over, but it's something I can never get over." Frank left. Was he holding a grudge over me breaking up back then? The next morning, Frank didn't show up. Instead, his assistant personally took over. "The internet's too powerful nowadays," he said, "even the slightest thing can blow up online. It's best not to venture into public places. I'll arrange a car for you and Lily tomorrow." I nodded, feeling grateful. It's not the time to be proud, I'll accept the help. I couldn't resist asking, "Is Frank still single?" "Nina, I don't really delve into Frank's personal life," the assistant said, "but you're the only person who's made him smile in 4 years. I frowned. Isn't that a bit exaggerated? He doesn't have a botched cosmetic surgery smile, after all. The assistant wouldn't elaborate further, staying tight-lipped. Looks like Frank is probably single. I wonder, is his fiancée still abroad? Feeling pleased, I played with the cat for a while. The doorbell rang. I assumed Frank's assistant was back, but to my surprise, it was a woman. The woman, around my height, was decked out in designer clothes with perfectly styled hair, like a celebrity fresh off the red carpet. She walked in, casually surveying the place. "Oh. So you're Nina," she sneered. I composed myself and closed the door. "Nina, let's not beat around the bush. Frank and I were introduced by our families and are bound to marry sooner or later. I don't mind if a man has 1 or 2 close female friends outside of his relationship, but I must warn you, don't try capitalizing on any scandal to climb up. If you don't consider yourself, think about your kid's future." Her words made me laugh out of disbelief. She probably thinks I'm using my kid and media to bind Frank to me. I don't deny some young women might use these tactics to get ahead, but I'm not that young woman. I wouldn't do such a thing. First of all, lady, I don't know you, so watch your mouth. Secondly, Frank and I were exes, and this chance encounter was purely accidental. If I'd wanted to climb up by scandal, I wouldn't have broken up with him. Lastly, this is a lawful society. You can't intimidate me. Maybe instead of threatening strangers, you should focus on your man. Think about how to win him back. If he can't put up with you anymore, don't force it. Why hang yourself on one tree, you know? The woman was fuming. I heard the door open behind me, and Frank walked in. He must have just finished a meeting, holding 2 large shopping bags. After glancing inside, he put down the bags and changed shoes. Lily? He asked, as if querying me. So I replied, in the media room watching cartoons. Okay, Frank nodded, setting his bags down. I glimpsed colorful stuff inside, not sure what it all was. Opening his tie, Frank finally noticed the woman next to him. Frank, you're back. Despite moments ago being tough, the woman turned all soft and ran over to link arms with him. Frank dodged her. What are you doing here? Wendy, haven't I told you? We stick to business, nothing else. But Grandpa wants me to keep you company. Company? You mean smother. Frank, don't be like that. I really like you. 6. No need for that. Well, I'm heading out. I'll be waiting for you at my grandpa's place tomorrow. The lady tried to sneak away. Frank said, hold it. We're going to clear things up right here, right now. I said, I'll go watch cartoons with Lily. You all chat. Stay right there, Frank demanded. It's not like this conversation has anything to do with me. But Frank sounded pretty serious, so I didn't dare provoke him. Wendy, I told you 7 years ago that I won't marry you. My ears perked up. 7 years ago? That was when Frank and I just started dating. I've been saying this over and over through the years, even at the family gatherings after graduation. Frank, you must be tired. Let's discuss this when the elders are around. For now, I'll take my leave. Stop, Frank said. I'm not tired and my mind is clear. I'm officially telling you now, Wendy, that I want nothing to do with you. If you keep intruding in my personal life, don't blame me for being harsh. Frank. Have you thought about our family's elders? Don't use them to pressure me. I've worked tirelessly, traveled the world to ensure control of the company. Now it's my call, and my dad can't dictate my personal life, nor can my grandpa. I'm telling you officially, there will be no marriage between our families. I'd suggest you understand this. Frank, is this because of her? You two won't last. Whether we last or not isn't your concern. I've made myself clear. You showing up today and warning my friend crossed a line. And I'm announcing that all partnerships between our families are halted. There's no need for you to see me again. If you keep bothering me, every time you do, your family loses a supply chain until there's nothing left. Wendy's face was filled with anger. Frank, you're burning bridges. I never used your family's bridge. If my grandpa owes you anything, you can marry him so he won't feel lonely in his old age. Frank, Wendy was so upset she cried. You cruel heart. This is all your fault, you wretch. I will make you both pay. Wendy slammed the door on her way out. I was left as the target, awkwardly touching my nose. Looking at Frank, who was now sitting and petting a cat. Wow, when he means business, he means business. I finally saw this harsher side of him. No wonder he said he's not always himself in front of me. I slowly started to back away. Frank called out to me again. Stay put. I'm not done talking. I flinched, thinking, is he going to scold me now? But Frank asked, what did Wendy say about you? Did you fight back? I did. Well, good. You used to only pick on me, but when others provoked you, you'd run. It's nice to see you've grown over the years. When did I ever pick on you? You were so arrogant, nothing would get through to you. You were hard to catch. The moment I said it, I regretted it. Frank wistfully said. So you caught me, why could you let go? Why could I let go? Deep down, maybe I'm more arrogant than him. Otherwise, when I heard he had a fiancée, I wouldn't have just ended things like that. Even if I could do it all over, I'd probably do it the same way. Facing Frank's question, I cleverly changed the subject. So why'd you decide to get a cat? Aren't you allergic anymore? Someone said they wanted to, so we got one. I have a strong suspicion someone eyes me. Nina, did you hear what went down with Wendy earlier? I'm not sure where you got your information back then. But the moment I agreed you'd be my girlfriend, I turned Wendy down. I told my family too, no arranged marriage. Making you leave out of anger was the dumbest, most regrettable decision I ever made. Frank laughed. Do you know how mad I was seeing Lily call you mommy? I said you had no right to take away my fatherly role. But deep inside, I was hoping, if that were true, how incredibly lucky I'd be. Nina. Frank gazed deeply into my eyes. This time, I'll chase you. So, will you be my girlfriend? From the video room, Lily walked out giggling. Auntie, why aren't you watching cartoons with me? I'm tired from watching alone. Before I could respond, Frank got up and walked toward Lily. Watching too much TV isn't good for you. Let's see what Uncle got for you. He led Lily to the front and pulled out some colorful building blocks from a bag. Wow! It's the super kitchen set. Great! I've wanted this for so long. Auntie wouldn't buy it for me 'cause she said building blocks hurt her hands. Hee hee. Or maybe she just can't build them. She's not that handy. The two of them, back and forth, chatted about my shortcomings. Watching this scene, I felt a unique sense of peace. The next day, Frank set aside his work to take Lily and me back to my hometown. Lily grabbed his hand, asking when he would visit again, looking a bit reluctant. Frank surprisingly coaxed her. Uncle has to go back to work but will come visit during my next break. Deal? Deal, Lily happily ran off. I told Frank, you don't need to cater to her. Kids forget easily. Making promises makes her clingy. Is having her miss me really bad? Frank hinted, better than someone who's heartless. Frank added, I've been clear. We've both been single all these years. Can I have a chance to win you back? I stood with my hands behind my back, a smile creeping up. I'm tough to win over. Frank softly laughed. If you don't agree, I'll keep chasing you. 1 year, 2, maybe 3. Eventually, you'll say yes. Those words sounded hauntingly familiar. That was my classic line when I pursued him. Frank went on, even if you were a rock, my persistence would eventually warm you. Oh, come on, stop it already. Listening to my old catchphrases now, it's so cringy and embarrassing. I feel bad for what Frank's ears went through. Now, it tortures my fragile nerves. But no matter how I feel, it's all part of my youth and love that's long gone. Thankfully, clouds come and go, mountains and rivers meet again, and it feels like an old friend returning. Wendy sure isn't easy to deal with. After Frank turned her down, she went live and cried about being betrayed. She had hinted in previous streams that Frank was her fiancé, so people were naturally curious about who stole him away. Wendy didn't disappoint and posted my picture for everyone to see. Suddenly, my photo was everywhere online. People flooded in, calling me shameless for being the other woman. With Frank's popularity, the situation escalated quickly, and there was no way to cover it up. Soon, people even found out where I work and my home address. Some called, saying I'd ruined my whole family for being a mistress. Overwhelmed by the negative press, I took a break from work and stayed at a friend's place. I also sent my parents to visit relatives. Unexpectedly, people even targeted my 3-year-old child. They found out the kindergarten Lily attends. Reporters crowded around, eager to scoop headlines. Even with the school's protection, Lily was bewildered and terrified. Some parents even encouraged their kids to call Lily the child of a homewrecker. When I got there, I found Lily crying in a corner, my heart shattered to pieces. Wrapping her in my coat, I hurried out of the campus. Reporters swarmed the gate, demanding answers about me being a mistress. I turned to the cameras with a cold grin. You can check it. Frank and I were college sweethearts. We broke up for various reasons after graduation. If I didn't settle back then, why would I be the other woman now? Some people should stop trying to stir trouble if they can't take the opportunity. Not everyone's a fool, and how long can you manipulate the narrative? When the lies are exposed, can you still face the world? With that, I left with Lily. Frank arrived a bit late, seeing me already driving off, his expression completely cooled. I'll hold a press conference later and ask for unbiased reporting, please. Back home, Frank followed me, but I didn't engage. Lily, exhausted and dirty-faced, fell asleep after some comforting. I cleaned her up and tiptoed out. Frank nervously followed me. I'm sorry, he apologized. Even when I went to get water, he kept shadowing me. So I had to face him. You don't need to apologize. This isn't your fault. Things spiraled out of control. I didn't protect you both. I'm the one who should apologize. Then say sorry to Lily when she wakes up. I'm good. Nina. Frank took my hand. Wendy twisted everything. I'll clarify at the press conference. I'll also remove the Wendy family stakes and boot them from our business here. That's the consequence they have to face. But don't keep pushing me away, okay? I laughed suddenly. The older I get, the more I seem to go backwards. What I realized was, when we met again, I couldn't forget him. Since I couldn't, why make myself miserable and benefit others? I told Frank no. He grinned to himself like a fool for a long while. While I looked after Lily, Frank held the press conference. At the conference, he didn't just speak, he presented his schedule from the past 3 years, plus Wendy's itinerary. Barely any overlap between them. How could they be a couple when they're hardly ever together? Frank further clarified that the older generation of both families were friends, and might have joked about marriage. Wendy probably took it seriously. There's no arranged marriage here. I've only ever loved one person, and will continue to love them for the rest of my life. This line shot to trending, and Wendy got slammed online. Everyone turned to bash her audacity. My 2 lines became hot topics too. Back then, I didn't even settle, now why would I be the other woman? Someone even made a gif out of it. Old classmates and college friends across various fields weighed in, leaving Wendy battered down. Nina and Frank were couple goals back in the day, couldn't deny it. Yeah, heard Nina dumped Frank at graduation, and he was down for a while. Even heard he drunkenly yelled under the girls' dorm that Nina took his heart, ha ha ha. Goddess is always bold, stay strong. Nina and Frank back together? I'm all for it. They were my first ship in college. Pics or it didn't happen. Some even had old photos of us, me goofing around with Frank always a step behind me. Sometimes, he'd smile at my profile lovingly. I never knew about these third-party perspectives. When we were together, I thought I chased Frank more. Didn't realize he also gave so much behind the scenes. Fans cheered on our relationship while slamming Wendy. Overwhelmed and unable to cope, Wendy deleted her account that day. The scariest part is yet to come. Frank kept his word and took major actions with her family. In just a few days, their stock hit rock bottom. Wendy wasn't any sort of princess anymore. I went back to work. Frank has been on vacation lately. He's been the one dropping off and picking up Lily. And Lily is thrilled about it. She said those classmates who used to bully her not only apologized but also wanted to play with her now. Whatever Frank did worked like magic. One day, Lily came up to me all mysterious-like and said, "Auntie, can you marry Frank?" "Do you like him?" I asked. Lily replied, "Yeah, and more importantly, I think you two are a perfect match." "Why is that?" I questioned. "Because when he plays with me, he always cares about you, makes sure you have water, and he says I remind him of you." He said if you marry him, then he'd have a daughter as cute as me, and I'd have a dad, Lily explained. After 3 years of dating, I found out just before graduation that he had a fiancée arranged by his family overseas. Right then, Frank walked over with long strides. Looking at him, I said with a smirk, "Frank, do you really have no shame tricking a kid?" Frank reached into his pocket, pulled out a ring, and knelt on one knee in front of me. "So, will you fall for my tricks?" he asked. At that moment, the indoor lights went off, and soft candlelight surrounded us. My friends and family walked out of a room, forming a heart around Frank and me. "Say yes. Say yes," they chanted. The candlelight illuminated Frank's face, and a wave of happiness washed over me. "Nina, will you be my wife for all eternity?" Frank asked. With candlelight in my heart and the evening breeze surrounding me, I softly spoke those 3 words. "I will."